today's lab, we're going to be looking at different power sources and power supplies. So how power gets to certain pieces. We're going to be looking kind of specifically at DC power supplies. We're going to be looking at AC power supplies, and then we're going to look at some of those things that help supply AC and DC to certain devices. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is we're just going to look at what we have power supplying, the lamp and then the LED. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up this lamp. Alright, and we should, if I can get it to work, we should notice that this lamp turns on. So what I want you guys to do, well, and I'm going to try it not just on this lamp, but I'm also going to try it on the LED over here as well. And you can barely maybe see it. It kind of turns on just a tad bit. But what I want you guys to do is take, there we go. What I want you guys to do is answer this question: what is powering this LED light? Okay, what is powering this LED and the lamp light? Is it AC or is it DC? Okay, so go ahead and answer that question. Your first question for this lab is: what is powering this, the LED light and then the lamp a couple seconds ago? Is it AC or is it DC? And then how do you know? All right, so I'll give you guys a couple seconds to answer that question. Next, what we're going to look at is we are going to we're going to start to kind of play around with some motors a little bit. So what I'm doing is I have this LED plugged into this motor. Okay, what you're going to notice is that the LED has not lit up. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to spin this motor. There's a shaft over here on the end of this motor that I can spin, and what you should start to see is that LED kind of light up. You'll start to see it light up. Now, question 2 is, why is this LED lighting up? Okay, what is this motor serving as when I spin it? Okay, because if I leave it alone, it doesn't light up. But the moment I spin the motor, it starts to light up. Why is that? Okay, so question 2 is, why is that LED lighting up when I spin the motor? All right, move on to our next objective here. Okay, next objective, what I'm going to do is we're actually going to play around with some AC. Okay, so we're going to play around with some alternating current. So you guys might be able to see, I actually have something plugged into the box. This is going to provide power for it today. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the AC, and I'm going to take it out of the transformer. Okay, I'm going to plug it into this lamp, and I'm going to cause this lamp to light up. All right, so we have AC power coming out of the transformer to this lamp. I'm going to turn it on. You should see that lamp light up. Now, I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to move one of these wires. Okay, I'm going to turn that on, and you're going to see that lamp light up, but obviously it's not as bright. So based on lecture from the other day, why do we think what do you think is causing this lamp not to light up as much? Or what sort of device do you think is maybe embedded in this transformer that could be causing the electricity not to, or this lamp not to light up as much? Okay, so go ahead and answer that question. Next question, what we're going to do. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to hook up we are going to hook up the motor to the AC. Okay, so we're going to hook up this motor over here to AC. All right, I'm going to turn it on. And what's happening is this motor is not necessarily working. Okay, it's vibrating almost like it wants to work, but it's not spinning. The shaft isn't spinning like it's supposed to on a motor. If you listen quietly, you might be able to hear it a little bit. It's just vibrating, it's not moving. But the moment I hook this motor up to a rectifier. Okay, the moment I hook it up to a rectifier, you're gonna notice something different. You guys should actually be able to hear the difference when I hook it up to the rectifier. Yeah, you can automatically hear the difference right away. The motor is actually working. The shaft on the end of this motor is spinning. Okay, so based on what I just showed you guys, why do you think the motor is actually working now? Okay, so really think about this. Motor didn't work when we had it plugged into an AC transformer, but the moment we plugged it into the bridge rectifier and we took the AC and we put it through the bridge rectifier, the motor all of a sudden worked. Okay, so why do you think the motor works once we plug it into the bridge rectifier? Give you a couple seconds to answer that question. All right, so what I'm gonna do is we are actually going to take some of the we're gonna take some of the AC current, and we are going to run it through a regulator. Okay, we're gonna run it through a regulator. All right, and that is, sorry, it's gonna take me a second to get this thing set up. And we're gonna look at how a regulator affects the flow of electricity and some of the devices that we have hooked up to a regulator. All right. So we've got the electricity coming out of the AC transformer to the bridge rectifier. I know it gets to be a little bit of a mess here. To the bridge rectifier. And then the electricity goes from the bridge rectifier to the regulator. Okay, so we're gonna look at what happens when we do that. Right? You can see that the lamp turns on. Okay, it turns on, it's dim, but it's turned on. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we're actually going to move this to a different regulator. And what I want you to notice is there's different numbers on these regulators. This one is a 7805, this one's 7812. Okay, and we're gonna turn this on, and you're gonna notice a big difference between the 7805 and the 7812 in terms of the brightness of the light bulb. Okay, so what I want you guys to be able to do, what I want you guys to tell me for your next question is, why is there a difference in brightness? Okay, why is there a difference in brightness? All right, what do we believe the reason is? Okay, so go ahead and answer that next question. And that should be our last question for today. Okay, so there are there's a few questions. I want to say about 4 or 5 questions embedded in this video that you guys should have answered. This video, like I said, is mainly just gives us an opportunity to look at different power supplies. Okay, we looked at AC, we looked at DC, and then we looked at DC again. We looked at DC again in a different format. And then we looked at what regulators do, what transformers do, and what generators are capable of doing. Okay, so hopefully this gave you a little bit of an idea of what some of these pieces in electricity are able to perform. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Make sure you guys follow directions, write out the questions that follow this lab on the lab assignment, and make sure you guys get it turned in on time. Thank you.